And she is the most insecure person I have seen in the public eye in a long time. That is why everything had to be perfectly curated.
It sounds like the setup for a Hollywood comedy, but according to multiple reports, Meghan Markle really believed Taylor Swift planned to overshadow her. Yes, the same Meghan Markle who released a Netflix trailer for With Love, Meghan on August 12th with heart emojis and soft camera shots, supposedly convinced herself that Taylor Swift, the billionaire stadium filler, was deliberately trying to steal her spotlight.
And Meghan, within 10 minutes, I fell asleep.
It was so boring.
Opening credits when they freeze frame a person and it's Dana Plato is Kimberly on Different Strokes. And it was Mindy Kaling. And it was
The difference is huge. Taylor casually appeared on the Kelce brothers podcast and dropped a culture-changing project announcement that got 167 million views in 24 hours. Meghan's trailer, meanwhile, barely got noticed beyond her Montecito circle. Yet insiders claim she saw Taylor's timing not as coincidence, but as sabotage. That's like thinking Beyoncé checks your calendar before releasing an album. What makes this even more weird is Meghan's long history of timing her moves against bigger names. Royal reporters have documented how she announced pregnancies, interviews, and partnerships suspiciously close to royal events, Kate's birthday, the Queen's celebrations, William and Kate's tours. According to industry insiders, it was her favorite PR trick: steal the attention by inserting herself into someone else's spotlight. So when Taylor's announcement destroyed her trailer numbers, Meghan supposedly assumed it was personal, but sources say that's pure projection.
Biggest absurdity of this whole thing was just how over-the-top perfect everything has to be around her. Her outfit.
Taylor doesn't even work in Meghan's world, while Meghan was carefully arranging flowers in a chicken coop for her trailer's soft shots. Taylor was selling out stadiums, rewriting music history, and sipping wine while re-recording her albums. The scale isn't just different, it's not even in the same universe. And that's the irony Meghan couldn't escape. Reports suggest she imagined her Netflix project as the centerpiece of the news cycle, a moment where she'd finally prove she wasn't dependent on royal drama to stay relevant. Instead, Taylor's podcast announcement swallowed the internet whole. Fans didn't just ignore Meghan's trailer, most didn't even know it existed. Swift fans were busy analyzing every lyric, every clue, while Meghan's supposed big reveal disappeared into background noise.
You don't have a chicknick table to feed your chickens. Did you catch that?
Did not catch that.
She literally, Meghan, she has a chicken coop and she talks, so she brings out.
Industry observers called it a textbook case of self-delusion. One PR executive told reporters, Taylor Swift doesn't need to overshadow Meghan Markle. The audiences don't even overlap. Meghan was fighting for survival in the gossip space. Taylor was commanding culture itself. But here's the kicker. Rather than acknowledging the brutal reality of being irrelevant, Meghan supposedly clung to the story that Taylor had targeted her on purpose. It's a move that not only highlights her insecurity, but also sets the stage for a clash of perception versus reality that could define her Hollywood chapter. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Meghan doesn't just believe she deserves a seat at the main table of pop culture. According to insiders, she demands it, and now imagines global icons like Taylor Swift play by her petty playbook. But what happens when the entire industry realizes the only person Meghan is competing against is a storm she created in her own head? Reports suggest Meghan was shocked when her Netflix trailer didn't dominate the conversation. According to insiders, she expected glowing coverage, trending hashtags, and a news cycle wrapped entirely around her brand refresh. Instead, the internet was consumed by Taylor Swift's announcement, leaving Meghan's project to collect dust. Sources say Meghan was furious behind the scenes, supposedly complaining that Taylor had stolen her thunder. But here's the irony. Taylor didn't even acknowledge Meghan's existence. The pop superstar was focused on her own billion-dollar empire.
And then the camera pans to a miniature picnic table. It looks like something that would go in a child's dollhouse on the ground. And she says, "Don't laugh at me. That is my chicknick table for the chickens." Okay, in this economy.
Right. Meghan's meltdown was happening in isolation, like shouting into a void while the rest of the world moved on. That disconnect between Meghan's belief in her influence and the public's actual response created the first cracks in her carefully managed image. What makes this story escalate isn't just the disappointment, it's the pattern. Industry analysts point out that Meghan has been accused of this same news cycle stealing tactic for years. When the late Queen Elizabeth celebrated milestones, Meghan and Harry were accused of strategically timing announcements to pull focus. During William and Kate's tours, Meghan's headlines seemed to mysteriously drop within hours. According to multiple reports, palace aides once joked that Meghan treated the royal calendar like her personal release schedule. And now, insiders say she believes Taylor Swift is operating under the same petty rulebook. But Taylor's moves aren't about stealing attention, they're about setting the cultural agenda. The fact that Meghan saw herself as being targeted reveals more about her state of mind than about Taylor's intentions. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Taylor Swift moves markets. When she releases an album, streaming platforms crash. When she attends a football game, ratings spike. When she launches a tour, entire cities prepare for economic boosts. Meghan Markle, on the other hand, has struggled to keep an audience engaged beyond her royal connection. Spotify canceled her multi-million-dollar podcast deal. Netflix executives, according to industry insiders, have grown cautious about her projects. And yet, rather than adjust, Meghan supposedly decided Taylor Swift, a woman who casually beat the Beatles on streaming charts, was playing mind games with her. It's the kind of delusion that doesn't just create gossip. It undermines Meghan's credibility in Hollywood, where power is measured not by claims of relevance, but by results. That's why this episode matters. It's not just about one failed trailer or Taylor's record-breaking numbers. It's about Meghan's inability to read the room. According to PR experts insisting you've been sabotaged, when the truth is simply indifference is one of the most dangerous mistakes a public figure can make. It paints you as desperate, insecure, and out of touch. And in Hollywood, perception is money. Once the industry senses you're clinging to delusion, doors start to close. Which raises the next question. Did Meghan's obsession with Taylor's timing push her further into the very irrelevance she was trying to escape? Insiders claim the real drama didn't unfold on social media, but in private conversations behind the gates of Montecito. According to multiple reports, Meghan confided to her team that Taylor's podcast announcement felt calculated, as if the pop star's team had intentionally dropped the news to crush her trailer's impact. People close to the situation say staff members were caught off guard by her intensity, with one source suggesting she acted like this was a personal attack, not just bad timing. This wasn't just disappointment, it was paranoia shaping the story. Meghan, according to industry insiders, supposedly demanded answers from her PR advisors about why Taylor's move hadn't been anticipated and why her own trailer hadn't been protected. But here's the truth no one wanted to say out loud. There was nothing to protect. Meghan wasn't competing with Taylor because they weren't even in the same arena. The revelation that makes this story so damaging is how Meghan's projection has backfired. According to Hollywood PR executives quoted in trade outlets, the more she insists her struggles come from being sabotaged, the less powerful she looks. One executive told reporters, Taylor doesn't even need to think about Meghan, but the minute Meghan frames herself as Taylor's rival, she reduces herself to a side character in Taylor's story. That's the painful irony. By imagining herself targeted, Meghan has turned herself into the punchline. Social media picked up on it instantly. Swift fans flooded comment sections with memes, making fun of the idea that their idol would waste even a second plotting against Meghan. One viral tweet put it bluntly, Taylor writes 10-minute ballads, not battle plans against chicken coop documentaries. But here's where the story twists. According to reports, Meghan's frustration didn't stop at Taylor. Word is she began questioning Netflix's strategy too, suggesting that the platform failed to give her trailer the promotional push it deserved. Insiders claim she was shocked to learn that her project wasn't considered a priority release compared to other big-budget shows. This revelation cuts deeper than any supposed rivalry with Taylor Swift. It exposes Meghan's fragile standing in Hollywood, a star without leverage, demanding main stage treatment in an industry that measures success by numbers, not royal titles. And the numbers weren't on her side. The broader implication is clear. Meghan isn't just battling Taylor Swift in her imagination. She's battling the harsh reality of a system where relevance is temporary and attention is earned. Sources say she's clinging to the belief that her setbacks are planned rather than the result of audience disinterest. But here's the revelation that may sting the most. Taylor Swift's sabotage isn't real. What's real is the silence that greets Meghan's content when no one cares to watch. And in Hollywood, silence can be the loudest verdict of all. If Meghan thought the whispers would stay private, the internet made sure they didn't. Reports suggest that once word leaked, she believed Taylor had deliberately overshadowed her. The memes practically wrote themselves. One trending TikTok showed a split screen, Taylor casually announcing her project with Travis Kelce, nodding along, while Meghan's trailer scrolled by with the caption, "Wait, this was the big threat?" Twitter threads piled on, with one viral post reading, "Taylor Swift moves the stock market. Meghan Markle moves her flower arrangements." For fans and critics alike, the punchline wasn't Taylor's dominance, it was Meghan's delusion. By framing herself as Taylor's rival, she provided the internet with endless material. And in today's digital culture, once you become the meme, you rarely get the story back. But insiders claim the laughter masked a more serious ripple inside Hollywood. Talent agents and studio executives were reportedly stunned at Meghan's fixation, with one source telling Page Six, "If she sees sabotage in every shadow, how do you build a brand around that?" Industry PR strategists pointed out that Taylor doesn't compete with anyone. She resets the market. Meghan, meanwhile, is still struggling to prove she can carry a project without leaning on her royal past. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Taylor ignores Kanye into irrelevance, while Meghan supposedly obsesses over a podcast segment. That imbalance, sources say, has started to form into a damaging story. Meghan isn't a cultural force. She's a cultural echo. And when a figure is branded that way in Hollywood, the phone stops ringing. What makes this peak even more brutal is the sense of irony. Meghan supposedly imagined her Netflix project as her independence moment, proof she could stand apart from the royal drama. Instead, the trailer has become shorthand for her lack of draw. Industry insiders say Netflix executives are frustrated, sponsors are nervous, and Meghan herself is privately blaming everyone from PR advisors to rival celebrities. But according to reports, the truth is unavoidable. Taylor Swift didn't need to sabotage Meghan Markle. The audience did it for her by choosing silence. In an industry obsessed with numbers, perception, and momentum, Meghan's belief that she was targeted reads less like ambition and more like a cautionary tale. And that's why insiders warned this episode could mark the point where Hollywood finally decides Meghan isn't worth the gamble. Insiders claim Meghan's fixation on Taylor Swift has already created ripple effects that go far beyond one trailer flop. According to reports from Hollywood trade outlets, studio executives now view her as unpredictable, a celebrity who interprets coincidence as conspiracy. That kind of reputation is toxic in an industry where timing clashes happen constantly. One anonymous producer supposedly asked, "If she thinks Taylor Swift is plotting against her, how would she handle it if Netflix drops 2 shows the same weekend?" The question wasn't a joke. In Hollywood, perception equals reliability, and right now, Meghan's perception is cracking. PR experts warn that once you're branded as difficult or delusional, it sticks, and contracts dry up fast. The long-term danger isn't just fewer offers, but how Meghan gets remembered. Taylor Swift's empire will be studied in business schools. Her record-breaking tours and streaming dominance are cementing her as one of the most influential artists of her generation. Meghan, on the other hand, risks being remembered for failed launches, canceled contracts, and imagined feuds. Industry insiders point to Spotify's abrupt end to her multi-million-dollar podcast deal as the first major warning. Netflix's lukewarm promotion of her latest project may be the second. If Meghan keeps spinning coincidences into conspiracies, it could be the final straw. As one Hollywood PR veteran put it, Taylor doesn't even need to respond. The silence is louder than any denial. And that's the ultimate irony. Meghan Markle wanted to show she could command attention without the royal drama. But in framing Taylor Swift as her rival, she proved the opposite. The comparison only highlighted the gap between delusion and dominance. Meghan is battling phantoms, while Taylor is busy breaking records. According to reports, this saga isn't just another celebrity dust-up, it's a case study in what happens when someone mistakes relevance for power. Meghan imagined she was being targeted. In reality, she was being ignored. And in Hollywood, being ignored is the most brutal fate of all. So what do you think? Was Meghan's belief that Taylor deliberately overshadowed her just projection? Or is there more to the story than insiders are letting on? Drop your theories in the comments, hit that like button if this shocked you, and don't forget to subscribe for more celebrity exposes. And if you thought this was wild, click here for another Hollywood meltdown that will leave you speechless.